Before we begin the practice of mindfulness of the parts of the body, just take a minute to speak a bit about the place of that practice in the teachings of the Buddha. This contemplation on the parts of the body is one of the oldest core practices taught across all the traditions that we have record of from the time of the Buddha. And it's given as a practice to help with establishing mindfulness of the body. So this is a very central teaching. It's the seventh fold on the eightfold path. So something we want to take notice of. The practice involves reciting through a series of very specific body parts. And the guidance is to contemplate these parts as if we were a person who's holding a bag of grain and rice and pouring it out through their hands. The wording in the discourses goes this way. It's as if there were a bag with openings at both ends, filled with various kinds of grains, such as fine rice, wheat, mung beans, peas, sesame, and ordinary rice. And someone with good eyesight were to open it and examine the contents. These grains are fine rice. These are wheat. These are mung beans. These are peas. These are sesame. And these are ordinary rice. So the attention here is very specific. It's very particular. And it's the same kind of attention we're to give to the parts of the body. It also has a neutral quality. We're not trying to hold on to any of the rice or beans. We're letting it flow through. But we know it as it flows by. And in the contemplation, this knowing for you, it may work best to have a visual image of the particular part, or a sense, a kinesthetic feel in the body where you believe this part to be located. And really, we're taking inventory here. So as this practice is used day by day over time, it will be natural to learn by memory the names of all these parts. But in the beginning, you may want to have something written down that you can refer to. Or you may want to take the parts in small groups, in small chunks, and memorize a few at the time. And this recitation will be led in a way that will hopefully facilitate some of that memorizing work. So let's begin with an awareness that we have an intention to practice a contemplation of the parts of the body. That's our purpose. And maybe to help us settle into that intention, just hold it in awareness along with an awareness of the breath. Letting the breath settle and focus the mind a bit. And for this time, all there is for us to do is to contemplate each of these parts of the body as they're read, as they're heard. as they become more and more familiar in the mind. And as we know more and more deeply and simply that they are true. This teaching is simply a description of the way things are. In this body, there is head hair, body hair, nails, teeth, skin, flesh, sinews, bones, bone marrow, kidneys, heart, liver, diaphragm, spleen, lungs, intestines, mesentery, undigested food, in his body there is feces, bile, phlegm, pus, blood, sweat, fat, tears, grease, saliva, snot, synovial fluid, urine. In his body there is head hair, body hair, nails, teeth, skin, flesh, sinews, bones, bone marrow. In his body there is kidneys, heart, liver, diaphragm, spleen, kidneys, heart, liver, diaphragm, spleen, kidneys, heart, liver, diaphragm, spleen, in his body, lungs, intestines, mesentery, undigested food, feces, bile, phlegm, pus, blood, sweat, fat, tears, in this body, feces, bile, phlegm, pus, blood, sweat, fat, tears, grease, saliva, snot, synovial fluid, urine, there may be some pulls to make more out of these parts of the body than is there simply in the words, to make some story, to elaborate. And that's natural, that's how minds tend to work. So when you notice that, just come back to that focus on the beans, the rice flowing from the bag, the particular concrete part of the body. That's all this is for, just to be aware of that. In this body, there is head hair, body hair, nails, teeth, skin, flesh, sinews, bones, bone marrow, kidneys, heart, liver, diaphragm, spleen, lungs, intestines, mesentery, undigested food, feces, bile, phlegm, pus, blood, sweat, fat, tears, grease, snot, saliva, synovial fluid, urine, and scanning again. In this body there is head hair, body hair, nails, teeth, skin, head hair, body hair, nails, teeth, skin, flesh, sinews, bones, bone marrow, flesh, sinews, bones, bone marrow, in this body there is kidneys, heart, liver, diaphragm, spleen, kidneys, heart, liver, diaphragm, spleen. Lungs, intestines, mesentery, undigested food. Lungs, intestines, mesentery, undigested food. In this body there is feces, bile, phlegm, pus. Feces, bile, phlegm, pus. Blood, sweat, fat, tears. Blood, sweat, fat, tears. Grease, saliva, snot, synovial fluid, urine. Grease, saliva, snot, synovial fluid, urine. And pouring the grain from the back through the fingers and watching as they flow through. With a clarity of connection, a specific connection to each part as it flows by. Head hair, body hair, nails, teeth, skin, flesh, sinews, bones, bone marrow, kidneys, heart, liver, diaphragm, spleen, lungs, intestines, mesentery, undigested food, feces, bile, phlegm, pus, blood, sweat, fat, tears, grease, saliva, snot, synovial fluid, urine. We bring her attention to this body. Into mindfulness of the parts of this body. Just in the same way, when we find the breath and we follow the breath moving in and out, that experience stands on its own. That experience of finding the breath and staying with it needs nothing else. It is. And in the same way with this practice, when we focus on the parts of the body, each part stands on its own. Each part is. and our ability to contemplate this reality that there is head hair, body hair, nails, teeth, skin. This reality grounds us in mindfulness of the body. It's not an abstraction. It's as real as the breath. It's not some random thing the Buddha gave us to do to keep us busy. He's pointing us where he wants us to look in order to be able to undo the sources of our suffering. And so, even though it may seem very simple sometimes, with a little bit of faith in the Buddha, we can continue to practice and check it out for ourselves, what benefit there may be. In this body, there is head hair, body hair, nails, teeth, skin, flesh, sinews, bones, bone marrow, kidneys, heart, liver, diaphragm, spleen, lungs, intestines, mesentery, undigested food, feces, bile, phlegm, pus, blood, sweat, fat, tears, grease, saliva, snot, synovial fluid, urine. There is a body. There is a body.